Jess, over the years, you work with so many of my clients, and you've helped them, fine tune their message to give them confidence and delivery, knowing when to stop talking. Sometimes there's some authors love to just talk. I'm guilty of that myself on occasion. So my wife says, but it's so how do you what's your secret sauce there? What do you tell my clients? Because they come out of there pretty good.
And I know you've seen either some of the video recordings or transcripts of some of the client media training that I've done. Your people, mainly authors, although I know a number of them have been doctors and lawyers and financial service folks, which is the core group I help. But I'll tell you the big thing that they have a block with, and a big thing that I encounter with other clients, which is the old idea of plugging. You got to plug your thing, your book, your business, your website. You must force it into, right? A plug.
In other words, on my website,
Yeah.
.com, right? That, okay.
And if they say that in the first sentence, it's like, you didn't earn it yet. But the replacement,
right.
And by the way, before I tell you the replacement, authors feel, icky sometimes, like, oh, I'm selling. Like, yeah, you're selling. You and you're the publicist behind them. You're like, yes, you are, because that's why you came to me. I'm setting you up for success, but you have to do this last thing. But the shift is this. It's a call to action. And it's not actually even one call to action. So the best call to action is buy my thing, get my book, go to my website. Here it is. Okay, great.
Right.
And there are calls to action leading up to it. So if I mentioned doctors. So if you're a doctor, you could say, try this one thing. Ask yourself this question. Hey, next time when you're at the beach, do this one thing. I'm imagining now it's sunscreen or something. And try this thing. So they're getting used to taking your direction, the person
right.
who I'm training. And then by the time we get about 3/4 in and you say, oh, yes, and this is why I wrote the book. People definitely should go get a copy because it's going to help them to do blank. Boom, you just put in a call to action, and it doesn't have to be quite as bookended as I mentioned, but if it's before the very end of the interview, that's a wonderful way to do it. So that's been an aha. A lot of your people, your clients have really liked that because they don't feel icky and gross. In fact, I'll tell you this, which is if we're saying doctors, in the world of sales, they actually say, if be like a doctor, examine, diagnose, and prescribe. Imagine if you went to the doctor and they said, I don't know, that thing on your arm is a little bit fishy. Anyway, see you next time. No, tell me, tell me what to do. So for the people who are going in front of the media, TV, print, radio, and podcasts, and all the new versions, even social media, we need to have those call to actions. That's when you ask about my secret sauce, I'll say that's what makes the biggest difference to them.
I'll add to that a little bit too, because one of the things that you help people focus on, the one thing. Okay, don't tell them to go to Amazon because there's a million books there. You tell them to go to your website, blah.com, and then you can hit the buy button on your book. Oh, in the meantime, you might find, that this author does speaking engagements, or this guy's got another book, or whatever consulting practice or something like that. So that's important to get that point across, and you do a good job of that.
I appreciate.
Occasionally, I'll have somebody start interviews before they talk to you.
Yeah.
And regrettably, because they'll say, and my LinkedIn page is this, and you can find me on Facebook at this, and my website is this, and it's like, oh my God,
it's too much. And to try
people
to
can't remember your name, for God's sake.
Exactly. Yeah, it's too much. And by the way, if you put a link to the LinkedIn over on the website, okay, that's fine, or any of those other things. But good luck. Right, remembering how to spell my last name that has a silent T in the middle of it, and going.
I can't do it today, even.
We know each other for 30
years.
Where's
the T go on this thing? Yeah.
What is that? Yeah.
I go. Where does the D go?
It's
the T or after the T?
Todtfeld, Todtfeld.
Yeah.
Why?
I'd get rid of
it. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
It's for Scrabble purposes. We want extra points, but. Yeah, good luck trying to do that. Right. One place. And I've told some of your authors where they say, well, I don't even have a website set up. You and I like to give extra help that probably goes a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit beyond. And I've said, you can go to GoDaddy, you could buy the domain, you could point it. If the only thing you had was a LinkedIn or even your book on Amazon, point it there, at least until you figure out how to
Here's
make
what
a
I
one
did.
page.
Here's what I did because I follow your advice.
Yes.
My book, this book I put out 5 years ago. I have, and it's called Book Title Generator. Helps people title their books. But if you go to booktitlegenerator.net or .org, boom, it'll go right to Amazon.
Oh,
So they
that's
don't have to
amazing.
remember anything. They just remember, if they can, they remember the name of the book. It's tough.
And people should check out Scott's book too, which is fantastic. Don't put out a book until you've gone through the book
Well,
title
I also
generator.
tell people, based on our conversations over the years,
Yeah.
that they should title their book with a short title, but get the .com if they can. Now, the .com wasn't open on my book, so I had to go .net, .org. Okay, but it's okay. But people might be able to remember that. Okay, there's no guarantee, but they have a greater shot at remembering your book if it's a .com. But try to get the title.
That's it.
The title of .com.
And it's $10 or $12 usually. They
Yeah.
can go to GoDaddy, although there's other places out there. And
I even had a typo one time on somehow it ended up in a press release. There was an extra T or a whatever, and I bought that and redirected it. And it was like, because we had to, because it was like, how did that get through all the, because it was like a one, a letter L or something.
Now, usually when I'm working with your clients, and we tend to do most of it virtually, they've got a lot of that dialed in. You've helped them with book trailers and all these other pieces. And now we're working on the interview. And some of them are surprised that I'm going to record their practice and play it back. And even though initially they're like, oh no, what are we doing? They realize that they start seeing themselves get better and better in real time.
Well, you know what? Yeah. You know what, Jess? I've been doing this a long time. You have too. The more interviews you do, the better you get at it. It's that simple. Okay.
Right.
So you just got to keep doing them. Even if you don't like the show, never heard of the show, even if it's somebody in somebody's basement, which we try to avoid. But, just those are call it practice. At the worst case scenario, if you've got one of those types of interviews, it's practice. But the more you do, the better you get. You got it. And so when you do get the phone call from Fox and Friends or CBS Evening News, this is not your first rodeo. Okay.
Right.
Really important.
And Scott, since you mainly handle authors, would you like to know, maybe you know the answer, which is like almost a trick question, which is the toughest media question that authors get asked. It's not actually even a question. Let's see if you can figure out. I know because
it's what made you write this book?
It's what made you write this book? Or even tell us about the book. Their head explodes. Like, where do I even start?
Well, that's a good point because you help people. Most books have multiple chapters, and where do you go with it? So you have to do the big umbrella, the overview.
And by the way, every industry has that version of, tell us about this thing you're here today, or if you're a lawyer, tell us about this new law. Now a lawyer might go too deep in the woods, and an author might go too deep in the woods. This is where
we've all seen it. Well, I was born in a log cabin down by the river. No one wants to hear that. You got to get into. My acid test is what's useful. I mean, most books have, unless it's a novel, there's a useful aspect to it, and people will listen to stuff that's going to help them improve their lives, their quality of life, or whatever. So when I get a how-to book sometimes, or I get a book that they're like, there's certain books I'm more excited about because, I get a lot of placements for that book because people want to know how to blah, 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 or, save money, make money, save time. You know what I'm saying? All these things that are, there's something that's useful today. Somebody could listen to this interview. They'll stay tuned for the whole thing because you're putting out the top 10 things you can do to blah, 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 whatever.
So 2 big things you brought up that I'm just highlighting for people tuning in today. a top 10 list or 7 or 5 people. Media loves numbers, and the audience can remember it
The
better.
takeaway, like you talk about when you do the media training, you say, what's the
Yeah.
takeaway? I got done
What's
listening to
the
this guy
takeaway?
for 30 minutes. What the hell was the point of that? Okay.
Yeah.
What's the takeaway? Not just that he could go buy his book, but boy, I just learned how to fix my, blah, blah, blah. Or I know
Yes.
how to now buy insurance cheaper. Whatever it is,
And that's a huge reframe for media training and I don't think most media trainers focus on this, but this is the part 2 of that, which is being audience focused. Yes, you have an agenda. Of course, you want to get people your website or sell your thing. But when you're helping and solving their problem, and the media knows their audience is getting help, it's like that Venn diagram perfect
right.
center spot.
I had just think about it this way too. I had one of my now a friend, but it was just like in a consulting, we had a consulting arrangement 20, 30 years ago. He said, people are listening to one radio station. It's called WIIFM. And you know what that stands for?
So what's
it stands
in it
for me.
Them. For me, I mean.
What's in it for me?
Yes.
What, they're listening always. What's in it for me? That's what the station is. Everyone's tuned into. Okay. I had lunch today at such a restaurant. What's in it for me? You got a free ticket for it next week? People want to know. That is their first thing.
Yeah.
It's just human nature. You can't fight it. It is what it is.
That's it. And the more audience focused people are in interviews, the better they're solving people's problems, the better they're exciting the audience. We need to excite them to the point of taking action.
So what is in it for the listener to this convo here? What's in it for them today?
Well, wonderful. The thing that's in it for them, I'm imagining they're tuning into this and they went searching for media training and they said, what is that? What is media training exactly? Do I need it? What do they even do? And to answer that question, a good media trainer will begin with the end in mind. We'll find out what it is to the point that you just made, which is, what do you need to make happen? I just actually talked to a financial advisor today who said to me, I need to make videos for my website. I want you to help me be more calm and comfortable and not robotic and all that. But I needed to begin with the end in mind. That's not the end. The end was, I said, so it'll be in social media and it'll be on your website. There's certain regulatory issues. Is this to be able to get more clients? And he said, yeah. Okay, good. Well,
good.
Now we know what the goal is. Of course it is. And the people who watch that know, you're putting something out and I'm saying, yeah, that's valuable. I got to get on a call with this person. So now we can work backwards to what we should create. And the same thing with any of the clients that I work with. We got to find out what are you trying to do ultimately? And some of your clients who are authors who have said, I really want speaking engagements. Okay, well, I'll probably say it as a question, but I'm trying to put the thought in their head. Would it be valuable for you to bring up, do you think, in the interview that when you're out giving speaking engagements that sometimes you talk about blank? And they're like, yes, people will know that I'm a speaker. Yeah, let's do that. Let's practice doing it. So
it's exactly right. It's like, well, I was in Florida the other day and I was giving a speech in front of a bunch of bankers and I told them that blah, blah, blah. That's another way you just like segue it in there. Right.
Yeah. And people know who you talk to. Oh, I have to see my camera turned off. Let's see what happened here.
Here's a good topic. What happens when the camera goes? Oh, there we are. Okay.
I have to turn it overheated, I think. Hold on. Because now you have me under the teleprompter over here, but I don't have anything in the teleprompter. We'll just say the last couple of things, and I'll mash it together. What the heck were we talking about when that went off?
Talking about sound bites, which are so important to making your speech relevant and memorable. Okay, the takeaways.
There we go. We're back in business. Okay, so we'll mash that. And I'll say, Now, I know you wanted to, I was in mid-sentence, but who even remembers what I was talking about? We'll just have it do a like a zzz. So you ask me and you say, are sound bites still relevant in the later 2020s? This way we don't date it.
Hey, listen, I don't know about you, but people still need short, sweet, memorable things. In your business, my business, they call them sound bites. How do you help people with the sound bite thing?
Well, soundbite's still relevant, by the way, probably more than ever, I think. And a soundbite is basically a quote. You know, it's a quote of sound. So in video or audio, they call it a soundbite. In print, they call it a quote. But in social media, they clip the best answer. And here's the thing that surprises most people, which is these can be created in advance. There are 14 strategies I reverse engineered when I left television as a producer.
Right.
And said, what were we looking for? We would take a tape, that's how long ago it was, and we'd take a tape and bring it into an edit room and say, I know the quote when I hear it. I know. And so we would listen, and the editor and I, the guy who was, pushing all the buttons, we both go, oh, there's our quote. So what I notice when I work with your clients or other clients, if I say, let's create something that's so irresistible that they can't turn away not only the media, but the audience. And they say, tell me more. And together we come up with these that it does its job. And they end up getting quoted. It's the exact quote they came up with in advance.
And you come up with that ahead of time, which is awesome.
You can,
and so the
yeah.
clients come back and say, hey, I've got these 5 sound bites. And, they practice them to the point where they roll off their tongue,
I just worked with a group in Washington, D.C. that's a nonprofit, and there are all these government adjacent groups. I work with the U.S. government too as well. And they really got excited about these sound bites because we saw when we were looking at the quotes that their organization got in the news previously, that it all matched the 14 strategies or some pieces of those strategies. And they were very excited to create them in advance, just have 1 or 2 great ones in their back pocket and bring it up in the interview. And I've already had many clients, including one of yours, who said, hey, I can't believe it made it in there. I'm just going to keep saying that. And they could either say the same one or they could say some different ones. So yeah, that's a big one. But yeah,
no, it's a technique, and there's you got a whole book on. I mean, that Media Secret book that you put out a few years ago.
Yes.
And you have it there holding up the table someplace?
I usually say, as an author, you don't want to, so this is the move not to do usually. Well, Scott, one of the things that
I do it all the time. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, today it seems like a good, oh yeah, wait, let's hold it up for the camera. We'll get a shot.
There we go.
There we go. We got to
buy my book, please. No, I don't care if you buy it or not. You know what? There's so much info in here. I do care, but
you do care. People should get both of those books.
I care. You know what? For me, it's a lead generator. It's like that's what it is. I mean, if you're going to title your book, no one's buying this book to entertain themselves. They're buying it because they have a book, they want to do it, or they're going to publish a book, and they want to do the smart thing and make sure they don't screw it up with some stupid title. Okay, so you read that and don't have a stupid title. That's my soundbite.
As we tie all this together, and look, you as a book publicist, me as a media trainer and high stakes presentation trainer, those are my main 2 lanes. We really want to set people up for success. And it's funny you said, these books, we're like, but really we want people to know. It's you said yours is a lead generator. We want people to get to know us, but I'm saying it thinking about the audience, being audience centered, like before. We want people, hey, we want to give you something, but we want you to see how we think. And if it's a match, great. And by the way, if it's not a match, that's okay too. There are 8 billion. Fine. You and I have chatted about this. There are 8 billion people on the planet. It's okay. Not everybody's a match, but we have enough people who have said, that's what I need. Scott gets it, or Jess understands the thing that I'm trying to do. And okay, let's do this. And usually we have some extra resources so that they don't forget and can follow.
Well, I mean, I got a testimonial from a client yesterday, and it was like, Scott, he says, you open up all these doors I could never have opened without you. Boom. That's what I do. That's what we do. That is the bottom line. and
Ooh.
got him in front of hundreds of thousands, if not a million people, talking about his book.
By the way, you used
That's
some
what,
sound bites there. Open doors. So it's an analogy and action words. So you don't realize, but it's in the Media Secrets book.
yeah, okay.
Exactly why. And then you said the bottom line is, and you continued talking, which is the cliche on the way. It's a good thing to use a cliche if you want to get quoted. They can't
I think
stop
so too.
themselves quoting you
Cle-
saying it.
Cliches are in my book. Cliches, idioms, cliches, use of numbers,
Right.
um, the use of biblical phrases that people are already typing in to search a biblical phrase. If your book pops up, you've got a religious book, boom, it's there. You'll pop up with key passages of the Bible. It's amazing the techniques you can use to come up with a good title for your book, or title for your business, or your company name, or even a subject line for your emails.
Amazing. And that's an interesting one with the Bible. I know you have some Christian authors that you work with.
Yeah.
And that makes complete sense. Probably not somebody who has a book about automotive strategies. But
Right.
maybe that's what you do as a publicist. Figure it out, I guess.
I don't. There's the only books that are really tough that I say I can't help you. It's one of these textbooks that nobody wants to read, including the students that they're making them buy. There's some of those books are just impossible, and
Well,
so
I
we
know
don't.
they want you to be honest. They want you to
Yeah,
say what angle in. And I know sometimes the book may be one piece, but they may have some other gem that's adjacent that brings
right.
it all together. So it helps when people should reach out to Scott Lorenz.
I
And your
appreciate that, and they
website is
should
where?
reach out to you too.
And so you give your website.
My site is westwindbookmarketing.com. It's my company and what I do, westwindbookmarketing.com. Boom.
And I know Scott Lorenz, he's
Yours?
all over Twitter, or X.com as they call it.
My Twitter handle is a book publicist.
A book,
The letter A, book publicist.
great. Right in the beginning of the
And I've
alphabet.
got 47,000 followers, and adding some all the time. A lot of authors, mostly authors, media people, people in publishing.
Right, amazing. Yes, and I'm Success in Media, Success in Media, and people can. There's some interesting tools we've been adding to the site where people can create their own sound bites, or they can
Oh,
build a
that's
speech.
that's good.
Yeah, people can plug in a press release, and they can. And if they're not sure, they can't find it, they can message me through the site. But they could do that, or they could build a speech. They can actually say, these are the topics I want to talk about. And it says, put some stories here, and they can print out a one-sheeter for a speech. It's very
That's a good
similar.
idea. We should do a demo of this online at some point, right, on this program.
All right, we'll have to do it in the next one.